Hey everyone, this is the video for lesson 25, session 3, and it begins on page 529. This is the refine day, so you should have already done these pages on your own or tried to solve these problems by yourself, and you should just be using this video to check your answers or for any help if you struggled with any of the problems. So if you haven't done that already, I would suggest pausing the video, doing that first, and then checking your answers with the video. But here we go. So the example problem you had to solve, there's no solution there. So it says a farmer plants corn in 68/100ths of his field and beans in 3/10ths of the field. What fraction of his field does the farmer plant with corns and beans? So both fractions combined. So they drew the model for you. They made it all in hundredths, and corn was 68/100ths. So they colored in 68/100ths darker blue and labeled it corn. And then beans was 3/10ths. So 3/10ths is this area, because if it was just broken up into 10 columns, there's 3 colored in right there. So 3/10ths for beans really equals 30/100ths. Right, because we multiply the numerator and denominator by 10 to find the equivalent fraction as hundredths. So 30/100ths for beans plus the 68/100ths for corn is going to give us our answer, the combined total that he planted. Okay, so I know my denominator will stay the same. It's going to be 100. And then I just add my numerators. 30 plus 68 is 98. 98/100ths, and that makes sense because all of them are colored in except for these two. So 100 minus 2 is 98. 98 of them are colored in. So he planted 98/100ths of his field. Okay, so star for showing your work, star for your answer in a sentence. Okay, so that's pretty much what this whole lesson 25 was about. Changing your tenths into hundredths and then adding them. All right, let's get started on the rest of the problems. Including the example, there's 11 problems on this one, so it's a little bit of a longer one. Number 1, what is the sum of 7/100ths and 1/10th? Show your work. So, let's zoom in a bit. Okay, 7/100ths, so that one's already in hundredths. This one is 1/10th, so I need to change that 1/10th to an equivalent fraction with 100 as the denominator. Okay, so I know I multiply numerator and denominator by 10. 1 times 10 is 10. So 1/10th equals 10/100ths. So I'm going to add now. 7/100ths plus 10/100ths, because now they have the same denominator, and I keep my denominator the same when I add. I don't add 100 plus 100, it just stays hundredths. Then I add my numerators. 7 plus 10 is 17. So there's my final answer. The sum is 17/100ths. Okay, so star for showing your work, star for 17/100ths in a sentence. Hi, Ollie. Okay, I need to turn my page now, Ollie. All right, so that was that page. Turning the page, Ollie. Come on now. Scooch over. Nope, don't headbutt the camera. Move over. Watch your feet. Oh my goodness. Okay. Page 530. Number 2. All right. It says, Jared, Consuela, and Reggie have an ant farm. Gross. Jared collected 25/100ths of the ants for the ant farm. Consuela collected 6/10ths of the ants. What fraction of the ants did Jared and Consuela collect altogether? Sorry for the shadows. Ollie keeps walking around on my desk blocking the light. Okay, so it says there are 3 people that have this ant farm. Ollie, stop. You're headbutting the camera, bud. But it only tells us information about 2 of them. So Jared's was 25/100ths and Consuela's was 6/10ths. And it's just asking what are those 2 altogether. So I need to change my 6/10ths into hundredths before I can add. 6/10ths equals how many hundredths? I multiply both sides by 10. They're both numerator and denominator. 6 times 10 is 60. So Consuela really collected 60 hundredths. 6/10ths equals 60 hundredths. Then I can add it. 60 hundredths was Consuela's. I can add it to Jared's, which was 25 hundredths. My denominator will stay the same. It will be 100. And then I add my numerators. 25 plus 60 is 85. Final answer. So they collected 85 hundredths of the ants. Star for showing your work, star for your answer in a sentence. Okay, number 3. Heath has 100 trading cards. Space exploration cards make up 7 hundredths of his card collection. Baseball cards make up 7/10ths of his card collection. Together, the space exploration and baseball cards make up what fraction of Heath's card collection? And then it has an example picture of what a space exploration card would be. Looks like it's supposed to be the Mars rover or something. Anyway, so space exploration was 7 hundredths, baseball was 7/10ths. So that one's in tenths. I need to convert that into hundredths. 7/10ths equals how many hundredths? I multiplied by 10, so I need to multiply by 10 on my numerator. 7 times 10 equals 70. So baseball cards are 70 hundredths. So he has 70 baseball cards, but he only has 7 space exploration cards. But it's saying together, how many does he have? So space exploration cards was 7 hundredths, plus baseball cards was really 70 hundredths. Add those together, that would equal 77 hundredths, which is D. Okay, so star for your showing your work, I guess, and star for getting D. If somehow you did that in your head and got D, like if you can convert that in your head and add that, then you can still get 2 stars for D, like if you didn't show your work here and did it in your head. Because I'm sure some of you can do that at this point. Okay, well, still number 3, but our answer down here. Ezra chose C as the correct answer. How did he get that answer? So Ezra chose 77 200ths. Holy, stop shaking. Shaking the whole camera. So how did, Ollie, honestly, how did Ezra get 77 200ths? Okay, so we know when we add fractions, the denominators do not add together. They stay the same. 100, 100, 100. It's not 100 plus 100 equals 200. That's what he did wrong. So he added the denominators together. Denominators together. I guess that's it, right? I mean, he added the denominators together to get 200, and you're not supposed to do that. You're supposed to keep it the same. So as long as you said something about that, if you added more detail, that's perfect. But as long as you said he added the denominators, and you're not supposed to do that, we know. So you can get 1 star for your explanation for the bottom of that page. And then let's move on to page 531. Okay. All right, number 4, which equation is true? So there's 4 equations there. We just need to figure out which one's correct. Okay, I'm gonna use a Post-it to cover up, because there's just a lot of information there. So I'm gonna cover up the rest of them, and we'll just do one at a time. So 3/100 plus 8/10 equals 11 110ths. Well, I can already tell that one's not correct, but let's find the real answer. So 3/100 is fine, but I can't add 8/10 to this, right? I need to change the 8/10 to hundredths, and that would be 80/100. Okay, so I changed that 8/10 to be 80/100. That would equal 83/100, not 11 110ths. Okay, so that one's not right. Oh, same equation. 3/100 plus 8/10. And this time they got 38/100. But we said it was 83/100, so that one's not right either. Next. 3/100 plus 8/10, same equation, 83/100. 83/100. Hey, look, that one's right. And D, what did they do in D? Oh, that's weird. They made the denominator 10, and they just added 3 plus 8 equals 11. Mysterious, very strange. Okay, so that one is C. Give yourself a star if you said C. The others are very strange. Okay, number 5. Noelle rides her bike 5/10 of a kilometer to the library. Then she rides another 22/100 of a kilometer to her friend's house. How far does Noelle ride her bike in all? Okay, so 22/100 to a friend's house, but it was 5/10 to the library. Okay, 5/10 is how many hundredths? Multiplied by 10. I need to multiply my numerator by 10. 5 times 10 is 50. So to the library was 50/100. I can add those together now. Denominator stays the same. Numerators 22 plus 50. What happened to my plus symbol? Got all. Oh, I swiped it with my hand. Okay. 22 plus 50 is 72. So total she biked. Nope. Yep. 72/100 of a kilometer. Because I converted this 5/10 into 50/100, and then I added it to the library, or to the distance to her friend's house. So, 1 star for getting C, 1 star for showing your work. Again, if you did that one in your head, you can still get the 2 stars as long as you said C and actually did the math in your head, not just guessed C. Okay, this one's a challenge problem, I would say. Fill in each box with either 10 or 100 to make the equation true. So you can put 10 in these boxes, or you can put 100 in these boxes, or 10 in one and 100 in another. You don't have to both. They don't have to both be the same. But we have to figure out which one is going to be 10, which one's going to be 100. Because it's 4 plus 20 equals 60, and I know that's not true. 4 plus 20 equals 24. So how would I change this problem? Where would I put the denominators, or which denominator would go where? Okay, so you can mess around with it, you can try some different combinations, but what you should realize is that this one's going to be 20/100, and this one's going to be 4/10. Okay, 4/10 plus 20/100 equals 60/100, because this 4/10 I need to convert. 4/10 really equals how many hundredths? Times 10, so I need 2 times 10, 40/100. So really this equals 40/100. 40 plus 20 equals 60. And if that's 40/100, 100, 100, 100. Right? So that's the only way that works out. If you put 10 in that box and 100 in that box, you get 2 stars. That one's definitely a challenge problem. Number 7, what is the missing fraction in the equation below? Show your work. Tricky. Okay, so 6/10 plus something equals 82 hundredths. Okay, so our denominator in our sum is 100. So this one must be a sum of 100, which means that one should be a sum of 100 also. So I need to convert that to a fraction with a denominator. Did I say a sum of 100? A denominator of 100. Okay, so 6/10 equals how many hundredths? Multiply by 10 for my denominators. I need to do the same for my numerators. 6 times 10 is 60. So this 6/10 really equals 60 hundredths. So 60 hundredths plus blank equals 82 hundredths. Okay, put my fraction line. I know that my denominator is going to still be 100. 100, 100, 100. That sounded weird. 100, 100, 100. Okay, and then 60 plus what equals 82. So I can do that on the side. I could figure that out. I could do 82 minus 60 over here. 2 minus 0. Am I still in the frame? No. There we go. 82 minus 60, because 60 plus something equals 82. That's how I figure out that something without just guessing a bunch of times. Okay, so 2 minus 0 is 2. 8 minus 6 is 2. So that means it's 22 hundredths. Okay, so this, back to my original problem, 6/10 plus 22 hundredths equals 82 hundredths. You would just have to convert that 6/10 first, and we did that. Okay, so the missing fraction is 22 hundredths. Okay, star for your answer in a sentence, star for showing your work. Okay, pause it there on that page if you need to catch up with anything. We're on the last page. Okay, number 8. Tell whether each equation is true or false. So there's just 3 of them. We need to see if they're correct or not. Okay, so 2/10 plus 1/100th equals 21 110ths. I can already, right off the bat, without even trying to solve that one, see that that one's wrong. See the denominator here? 110ths. They just added 10 plus 100 in the denominator. I know I don't do that. I never do that. My denominator stays the same. They should have converted this one. If you convert 2/10 to hundredths, you multiply both top and bottom by 10. 10 times 10 equals 100. 2 times 10 equals 20. So that's really 20 hundredths plus 1/100th equals 21. They got the numerator right, but it's not going to be 110. It's just going to be 100. They were very close. They just got the denominator wrong. So really, that one should equal 21 hundredths. Okay, let's look at the next one. 4/10 plus 4 hundredths equals 44 hundredths. Okay, so I need to convert that 4/10 into hundredths first. Okay, there's not a lot of space here. I'll do it over here. So 4/10 equals how many hundredths first? I multiplied the denominator by 10 to get 100. So I do that to the numerator. 4 times 10 is 40. So 40 hundredths plus, it was 4 hundredths over here. I'm off the page a bit. Okay, so 40 hundredths plus 4 hundredths equals 44 hundredths. And that's what they got. So that's true. Last one, 1/100th plus 9/10 equals 19 hundredths. So that one's already in hundredths. I need to convert that 9/10 into hundredths. And multiply a numerator and denominator by 10. So 9 times 10 is 90. So that one's really 90 hundredths plus 1/100th, sorry. I'm just going backwards. So 100 is going to be my denominator. 90 plus 1 is 91. But they said 19. So that one's wrong. Okay, so it should be false. True, false. Okay. Number 9. Ramona has $100. She spends 60/100ths of her money on a pair of sneakers. She spends 3/10ths of her money on a tennis racket. What fraction of her money does Ramona spend? Show your work. So, sneakers was 60/100ths of her money. And it said she has $100, so that means she spent $60 on the sneakers. And then I'm just going to say racket for tennis racket was 3/10ths. I can't add those together yet because this one's in tenths. I need to convert it to hundredths. So I multiplied my denominator by 10 to get 100. So I do that to the numerator. 3 times 10 equals 30. So it was $30, 30 out of 100, $30 on the tennis racket. So what fraction is that total? 60/100ths plus 30/100ths equals 60 plus 30 equals 90/100ths. So really she spent $90 out of her $100. But it said what fraction of her money, so your answer needs to be in a fraction. Ramona spends 90/100ths of her money. Star for showing your work, star for your answer in a fraction on the line. Okay, and the last one is the math journal problem, number 10. It says use words, equations, or pictures to explain how to solve the problem below. Jasmine walks 6/10ths of a mile to school, then she walks another 29/100ths of a mile to the library. How far does Jasmine walk in all? So to school was 6/10ths, but I need to convert that into hundredths. I multiplied the denominator by 10, so I need to do that to the numerator. 6 times 10 is 60, so she walks 60/100ths of a mile to school. Then another, so I'm going to add my 60/100ths, combine that with the 29/100ths that she walked to the library afterwards. Does her school not have a library? Okay, so my denominator will stay the same, hundredths. 60 plus 29 equals 89. So in all, she walks 89/100ths. You could have done just exactly this with an equation. You could have used words and explained your steps. You could have done pictures to draw models. So however you solved it, as long as you got 89/100ths, you get a star. Okay. So that's the end of our problems. The end of our problems. The end of our life's problems. Everything is great. Let's count stars. Okay. Count how many you got correct. I'm going to count how many you should have total, or ideally, how many total stars. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, including the example. There were 2 stars in the example. So over here, back on page 529, the first page of this lesson, what did I say, 23? How many stars did you get out of 23 total? I always love to know, so I would love it if you would comment in the video and tell me how many stars you ended up getting out of the 23 total. Okay, and that's it for lesson 25. So our next lesson, 26, is all about decimals, and it's a very important lesson because in 5th grade math, they're going to be expecting you guys to know decimals. So it's a bummer that we have to do this lesson from home, but at least you guys are watching these videos, so that's awesome, and you already have a leg up on everybody else who's not watching these videos and doing lesson 26. So we only have 2 lessons left, 26 and 27, and then you finish this entire math workbook and all of 4th grade math. So we're getting very, very close. Just make sure that on our next lesson, the next few videos, lesson 26, you are really, really focusing and trying to remember everything you can about decimals, because in 5th grade with Mr. Smotches, you guys are going to have to do some very difficult math with decimals. So we need to get this foundation of understanding what they are down really well first, okay? All right, see you guys in the next video. Bye.